I'm going to start from the half length, and then we're going to move forward from there. It's a basque waistline, so I'll measure the highest length, I mean the longest that I want this to be. So I'll just leave it at around 10.5 inches so that the basque effect will show very well. So that is going to be the total length for my half length, although this is not the actual half length of the child, but for us to have that basque effect, that's why I'm making it that long. So here on the starting point, I'm going to mark my shoulder. The shoulder is 8 inches, divided by 2 is 4, so I'm going to add like 1/4 of an inch to it, or half an inch, because I'm working with a sleeve. I'm going to add a sleeve to it, sorry. So my width, for my neck width, I'm working with a width of 2 inches, and then for the depth, I'm going to work with the neck depth of 2 to 2.5 inches for the back, for the front. So here I'm going to come down by half an inch on the shoulder area for my shoulder slope, and I'm going to connect all of this together with my curved ruler. So here is my shoulder slope. Then I'm going to mark my armhole. So for the armhole, I'm working with 5 inches, and I'll mark it there. And then on that armhole, I'm going to take the chest measurement. The chest measurement is 20, divided by 4 is 5 inches. So here I'm going to add my seam allowance of 1 inch to that, and then we will mark our armhole. Please get a better armhole cup. This one is not the normal armhole cup you should use. So get something better, and I'll go ahead and connect this for my armhole. I'm just going to manage what I have there. So here on the waistline, like I said, it's a basque waistline. So I'm going to mark the actual waistline of the child. So that is 8 inches. Okay, that's the actual waistline, which is here. So I'm going to mark that. So on that point, I'm going to mark round stomach. It's the same with our chest line, 20 inches. So I'll mark 5 inches here, and then mark my seam allowance as well. So now this is the actual measurements, this is the allowance. So like I said, this has a back effect, so all you just need to do is to connect from here, just like this. So we are done with drafting this. The only thing is the yoke. It has a yoke. It depends on how the yoke you want the yoke to be. It can be in form of, it can be straight, it can be like a sweetheart. So I think let me just do maybe a sweetheart yoke. So that's 4 1/4. It's totally up to you, but I don't want it too deep at the same time, so I'll just do 4 1/2 inches, and then I'm going to connect to my armhole. That way all my yoke is going to be on the, or let me just connect like this. I don't want our body to be showing too much. Okay, so this is going to be my yoke. I'm going to use this to cut the back as well, but the back is going to be true to the waistline. It's going to be straight, it's not going to be basque, but you can make your back basque if you want. So this is what it looks like now. I have used the front to cut the back, okay, and the difference is that the back stops here. It doesn't have this basque effect that the front has. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut the neckline for the front. The back neckline is 2 inches by 1 inch, and then I added zipper allowance to that. So the back has a yoke as well. So what I did was just to mark where my yoke cuts in front, and then I'm going to just make the back yoke straight. You can make it V if you want to. I think let's just make it V to make it a little bit different. Okay, so I'm just going to mark it into my allowance like that. So this is going to be my yoke for the back. So I'll go ahead and cut this on my fabric now. The yoke is going to be cut with the shiny net. I'm going to show us the materials we are working with very soon, and then I'm going to be using satin for the lower part of the bodice. So for the lower part, I'm working with these two-tone knits. So you can see it has like it's white, okay, on the upper part, and then as it goes downwards it changes to like this onion color. So that is what I'm using for the net, although I'm using two. This is going to be the outermost layer for the lower part, and then I'm going to use just plain white net for the inner part. Okay, so this is what I'm using. And then for the satin, I'm using this onion color satin. So the white part of this is what I'm going to be using to cut my yoke, and then this is going to be the lower part. And for the ruffles at the chest area, I'm going to be using this shining white as well. You can use plain white, but I just want it to be shimmery a little bit. So I'll go ahead and cut all of this now. So I have gone ahead to cut it. You can see my yoke. I cut it with the white part of the net. This is the yoke for the front, and this is the main bodice. So I cut two for each because I'm using the same fabric for both lining and main fabric, so that I can use them to turn out each other. So this is the front, and this is the lining for the front, and then I cut for the back as well. So for the front, remember the neckline area has some ruffles, so I have cut out this white part as well. You can use plain knit, but like I said, I want mine to just have this shimmer. So the length of this is 3 inches, okay, and then the width will be how full you want this to be. Basically, you can just measure the area that you're going to pleat it to, and then you multiply by 3, 4, 5, depending on how full you want it to be. It's totally up to you. So I just go ahead now and gather this on my neckline area. Okay, so if you have enough, you can do the same thing for the back as well. So you just go ahead now and then gather on the back as well. You gather on this back. That's if you have enough. So I'll see if this will be enough for me. So I'll do this now and bring it back to show us what we have. So you can see I have done the gathers. So this is what I have. This is the front, and this is the back. I decided to add gathers to the back as well. Okay, so you just leave space for your zipper, and then you add your gathers. So for the yoke, I have turned the yoke. I use them to turn each other. Remember, I cut 2 for each, and I have joined it on the shoulder as well. So what I'm going to do now is to go ahead and join it to the bodice, and then turn it with the lining. Remember, I cut 2 for each of it as well, so that we can be done with the main bodice. Okay, so for the skirt, I'm going to use this plain white net first, like I said, because it's a ball dress and the shiny net is not going to be enough for it to give it that ball effect. So this is going to be the base for the skirt. Then after placing this onto the skirt, I'm going to go ahead and add the shimmering net on top of it, just to give it that shimmery effect that we are looking for. So I don't want this video to be too long, so I'll just go ahead and prepare the skirt. I think I have a tutorial on it already. If you want me to do a dedicated tutorial on how I make my ball skirts, let me know in the comment section. But it's very simple. You just need to cut out the length that you want for your skirt. For this ball dress, I want the total length to be around 33 inches. Okay, so now I'm going to take out my half length from the 33 inches, which is 8 inches. So if I take that out, I'll have about 25 inches left. So that is what I'm going to use to cut my net. So the longest part of the net, I like to cut my ball gown in layers, but the longest part is going to be around 23 inches, so that I will have enough allowance for this. So this is going to be 25 inches, but the longest for this white is going to be around 22 inches thereabouts. So I'm going to be placing it onto a flare skirt. So I will cut a flare skirt with this satin using my, you can also use a white color satin. I don't have a white color, so I'm going to use it. By the time we pleat on it, it's not going to really show. So I'm going to use the waist of the child as the radius of this flare, and the length of the flare is going to be about 20 to 22 inches. So this is what I'm going to be pleating this net on. So I'll do this now and bring it back to show us what we have. So this is the half length. You can see I have sewn it together. I like to sew my lining and main fabric separately, so you just need to iron it. This is what it looks like on the inside. You want it to be as clean as possible. And this is the outer part. These are my gathers, so you just cut out your thread. So before I add the skirt, because it's going to be a little bulky, I want to add my sleeve first. So for the sleeve, I just cut out a regular basic sleeve for her using the white part of the net, which is this part. And then just like I gathered for the half length, I cut out a fabric of 4 inches width this time, not 3 inches, from the pink part, and then I gathered it on the hem of the sleeve, just like this. Okay, so I'll go ahead and sew this on the sleeve area now before bringing in the skirt. Well, let me just show you what the skirt looks like. The skirt is already sewn as well, and you can see that I sew it to the flare that I cut out. So this is the net, and underneath the net you will see the plain white that I have 2 layers of it. This is the first layer and this is the second layer. I used about 6 yards of net for this, so I don't have so much net. If I have more, I can create more layers so that I can have really ball gown, but this is also going to be really bulky the way I sew it. By the time I'm done, you will see how full it is, and I don't like using hard net for dresses, so that is why I decided to just sew it this way, and it really works. So now this is what it looks like. This is the inside. So now I'm going to sew it to the half length as well. Remember, it's a basque half length, so I will just sew it following the basque shape that I have already created there, just like this. Okay, I'm going to sew the main fabric separately. This is the main fabric, so I just raise it and sew separately like this, and then I'm going to sew the lining separately. For the lining, I have cut out another flare. Okay, this is another flare that I'm going to be using as my lining, because you want it to be really neat inside. So I'll go ahead and do all of this now and bring it back to show us what we have. So I have sewn the skirt to it. You can see the shape that we have there, the basque shape that we have. This is the front, and this is what the back looks like. So you may not see it well on the table. Just make sure that all your point matches. So make sure that the zipper area, the waistline, everything matches. And I fixed my sleeve as well. So this is what it looks like, and this is what the sleeve looks like too. So I'm going to find a way to clean the armhole area, and this is what it looks like on the inside. You want it to be as clean as possible. So I'll take this to the mannequin now so that we can see what it looks like.